Hello, I welcome to UPSC Prelims Chaturya series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy, where we will discuss the daily prelims MCQs from the Hindu, Indian Express and PIB. Let's get started. The first question. With reference to the Hathi community, consider the following statements. They are governed by a traditional council called Kampali. They live in the northeastern states of India. Which of the statements given above is correct? One only, two only, both one and two, neither one or two. About Hathi community, they are a close-knit community who got their name from their tradition of selling homegrown vegetables, crops, meat and wool, etc. at small markets called Hath in towns. Their homeland straddles the Himachal and Uttarakhand border in the basins of the Giri and Tons River. Both are tributaries of the Yamuna. These communities men generally don a distinctive white headgear during a ceremonies and is cut off from the Sirmaur by two rivers called Giri and Tons. Tons divide it from the Jansar Bavar area of Uttarakhand. The Hathis who live in the Transgiri area and Jansar Bavar in Uttarakhand were once a part of the royal estate of Sirmaur until Jansar Bavar's separation in 1815. They are governed by a traditional council called Kambali. The two Hathis clans in Transgiri and Jansar Bavar have similar traditions and intermarriages are common. So the answer is one only because they are live in Uttarakhand and Himachal border areas, not the northeastern states of India. Moving to the next question. Consider the following statement with respect to cyber kidnapping. It refers to a crime where kidnappers convince their victim to hide and then contact their loved ones for the sake of ransom. The victim is also asked to send pictures that make it look like they are being held captive by the kidnappers. Unlike traditional kidnaps, virtual kidnappers have not actually kidnapped the victim. How many of the above statements are correct? Only one, only two, all three, none of the above. Recently, a Chinese student who was a victim of cyber kidnapping has been found in rural Utah and is unharmed. Koi Zong was reported to go on missing from December 28th. By the time of police traced him safely, his parents back in China had already paid $80,000 in ransom. He was found in a tent which is about 40 kilometers north of Brigham City, where he seems to have self-isolated himself. What is cyber kidnapping? It refers to a crime where the kidnappers convince their victim to hide and then contact their loved ones for the sake of ransom. The victim is also asked to send pictures that make it look like they are being held captive by the kidnappers. And these photos are shared with the family, and both parties believe that their loved ones will be harmed if they don't do as the kidnapper asks them to do. The kidnappers, even though not physically present, but they monitor the victim online through video call platforms. Even though virtual kidnapping takes on many forms, it is generally an exhaustion scheme one that tricks victim into paying a ransom to free a loved one. Unlike a traditional kidnaps, virtual kidnaps have not actually kidnapped the victim. It is believed that with the rise of artificial intelligence and machine learning, such crimes can also rise as a scammers can send people voice notes that sound exactly similar to the loved one in the distress. So the answer is all three. Moving to the next question. Consider the following statements with respect to credit information companies. Their primary function is to gather data from various sources such as banks, financial institutions only, and then compiles the data into credit reports. Banks, non-banking financial institutes refers to CIC's report and score to decide borrower's credit worthiness before granting a loan or issuing the credit card. CICs in India are licensed by the RBI and governed by the Credit Information Regulation Act 2005 and various other rules and regulations issued by the RBI. Which of the statements given above are correct? One only, two and three, 1 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3. About credit information companies, CICs collect public data, credit transactions and payment histories of individuals and companies regarding loans and credit cards and among others. Their primary function is to gather data from various sources such as banks, credit institutions, lenders, and other credit granting entities, and then compile this data into credit reports. Banks and non-banking financial institutions refers to the CIC's report and score to decide borrower's creditworthiness before granting a loan or issuing a credit card. CICs in India are licensed by the RBI and governed by the Credit Information Regulation Act 2005 and various other rules and regulations issued by the RBI. As per the section 15 of the CICRA, every credit institution like banks should be a member of at least one CICs. CICRA also stipulates that CIC may seek and obtain information from its members only. Thus, if a bank seeks information from a CIC, it will get the information given by the other institution only. So the answer is 2 and 3 because the main function of the CIC were gather data from various sources such as banks, financial institutions, lenders, and and other credit institutions, not only financial and banks. Moving to the next question, choose the correct one with respect to VVPAT. VVPAT, that is nothing but voter verifiable paper audit trail, is a way of providing feedback to voter using electronic voting machines. VVPAT means voter verifiable paper audit trail. Which of the statements given above is are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 or 2. Opposition wants a meeting with the election commissions to discuss and provide suggestion on the use of VVPATs. About VVPATs is an independent system attached with the electronic voting machine that allows the voters to verify that their votes are cast or intended. When a voter presses a button in the electronic voting machine, a paper slip is printed through the VVPAT containing the poll symbol and the name of the candidate. The significance of the VVPAT, it is intended to be independent verification system for voting machine designed to allow voters to verify that their vote was cast correctly, to detect the possible election fraud or malfunction, and to provide a means to audit the stored electronic results. After being visible to the voter from the glass case in the VVPAT for 7 seconds, the ballot slip will cut and drop into the drop box in the VVPAT machine and be picked up here. It allows the voter to verify his or her choice. VVPAT is a second line verification and are particularly useful in the time when the allegations around tampering the EVM. So the answer is both 1 and 2. Moving to the next question. With reference to the polar bear, consider the following statements. Polar bears are listed as the critically endangered in the International Union Conservation of the Nature Red List. They are susceptible to deaths due to the avian influenza. Which of the statements given above is are incorrect? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 or 2. Polar bears endemic to the Arctic region are listed as the vulnerable in the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of endangered species for their loss of habitat and ICIs. The highly pathogenic avian influenza was first detected in the Arctic region among the birds and frogs. It is suspected the virus traveled in the region via migratory birds. The first case of the death of polar bears due to highly pathogenic avian influenza has been reported from the Arctic region. The animal likely contracted the diseases after feeding on an infected bird carcass. So the answer is 1 only because the polar bear listed in the vulnerable endangered in the vulnerable, endangered in the Union of Conservation of Nature Red List, not the critically endangered. Thank you. This is the today's session.